Got a 2013 Chevy Impala here for a check engine light diagnosis. A while back I did a first impressions video on this Launch CReader Elite 2.0 the stranger from the internet sent me. I was impressed enough with the tool for the price, and the stranger from the internet said, "Hey, do you think you can do a diagnosis with this tool?" And I said, "No problem." So here's the car that we're going to do the first diagnosis on. I don't think we'll have any problems because from what I saw during the first impressions video, this tool should be able to do everything that I need it to do. So let's get started by plugging it in. First off, the tool's off right now. When you plug it into the DLC, the tool is powered and charged off of the DLC if you, for some reason, had a dead battery. So even if I had a dead battery, the tool will still function. I just have to press the power button here and actually turn it on, and we'll get going. Last time I used this tool, I plugged it in and it immediately started trying to pull the VIN. I did have the tool turned on last time. Oh, look at that. I didn't have to do anything. The tool sensed that it was plugged in and it immediately starts trying to pull the VIN and build the vehicle. So I basically, all I had to do is plug it in and turn it on. We got the VIN number scanned. We're going to go to the next screen and do the health report and pull all the codes from all the modules. With or without air pump, got to take a quick look under the hood. Under the hood, this looks like it goes to an air pump. So I'm going to say this is with air. See, there's the air check valve. So we do have air system. That's with air pump. Dual zone manual. So this does have dual zone climate. As you can see, dual zone. With UH8. So I'm going to have to either go find the sticker in the trunk, or I'm going to have to look it up with my system. I'll look it up real quick and see what we have, UH8 or not. Okay, so the label in the trunk is difficult to get to. It's not convenient to get to, so I looked it up. It does have UH8, which is a instrument cluster option. It's going to do the health report, scan all of the modules for codes, and then we'll get a report when it's done. Pretty similar to the other tools that I have. It's nice that we get the battery voltage of the vehicle too, so we can keep an eye on it. It looks like the battery's getting low. I just pulled it in. It shouldn't really be getting that low that fast, so maybe this battery's getting old and weak. So we got our report. I believe I can save this. So we got some codes. Currently not connected to the network. That's okay. So we got an EVAP, small leak, a recirculation motor code. Looks like we got some airbag codes, theft deterrent codes, lost communication. I wouldn't be surprised if the EBCM codes, lost communication with ECM, that may just be a code that sets when we have an ECM code. Evidently the battery does have enough juice in it to start. Let's see if the airbag light persists. Okay, so airbag light is not on at the moment, so I think we're not going to worry about that. That's not one of the customer's complaints anyway. All the customer had complained about was the check engine light. So I think that we'll easily be able to diagnose this with this tool. Oop, shouldn't have gone back. Okay, so just so you know, don't hit the back button. I probably was supposed to hit something else. Okay, so I'm back on the report screen. Don't click that back button, click this back button. And then it'll bring you back to the list of codes and modules. And then I believe I just have to click the ECM. How did I do it last time? Click. Nope. Okay, so I'm back on the report screen. Don't click that back button, click this one. That puts you back on this screen that gives you all the modules. Can't remember what I did last time to get into the ECM, because every time I hit this back button, it wants to bring me back to the home screen. So I must be doing something wrong, probably because I didn't actually read the instructions on how to use the tool. But usually you want your tools to be intuitive. Okay, yeah, there's an arrow to enter, so you got to click the arrow. That's the secret. Back. So is this ECM arrow hidden behind the little... Yep, that's what was my problem. It was hidden behind the screenshot button. So the important part about having a scan tool like this, I think this one was on sale for $180 or so, maybe less. The important part about having a tool like this is that we have bi-directional controls, especially on an EVAP test. I should be able to control the EVAP system and do an evaluation. I've got EVAP system right here, purge seal test. So we've got the EVAP purge seal test brought up. Be great if I could change the data that I'm looking at, because it's important that I'm able to view the fuel tank pressure sensor data and the purge valve command increase. So it's allowing me to command the purge valve, but when I click system seal, it's not giving me the data that I need to view. I wonder if there's a way to change the data that we're looking at, but maybe not. So yes, it allows us to do the purge seal test, but it doesn't allow us to view the important EVAP data unless there's some sort of setting I need to change. Purge seal test. So I'm not seeing any options here that I can bring up any data. But if you knew what you were doing with an EVAP test, you could, for example, I could click system seal, and then I could go turn on my EVAP test equipment, and maybe we'll do that. I would actually want to command the vent closed. So with vent solenoid, we'll turn the key off, engine off, and then I would click that on when I had my EVAP smoke test connected, and that would allow me to seal up the system and do an evaluation that way. So evidently that's the way I'm going to have to do it with this tool. I could go in and view some EVAP data too. Nope, I want to go back to data. Data stream. EVAP data, because I just want to see what does the fuel tank pressure sensor look like before I've even started with that. A lot of times you'll catch a fuel tank pressure sensor that's reading way out of spec from what it should be, and that will cause you EVAP codes. Although a small leak code is a little less likely. Fuel tank level sensor, fuel tank pressure sensor, that's what I wanted. And we're pretty close to where we should be. Should be about 1.5 volts with no pressure or vacuum on the system. I'm sure that we're purging right now. We're venting. Do we have any purge command? Yes, so we have purge command. That's why the EVAP pressure sensor, or the fuel tank pressure sensor, that's why he's bouncing all over the place, is because the vent valve or the purge valve is open and we're applying vacuum to the system. Things are changing. So let me go get the smoke tester hooked up, and we'll command the vent on and just evaluate if we do actually have a leak or not. So for the sake of comparison, here's the Matco Maximus 4.0. This is a professional grade scan tool for professional technicians that do this every day. We work on all makes, all models. Obviously, we have a much bigger screen. You get the topology when you do the health report. You can also go into system list. We get the same codes, enter. So I'm going to show you the comparison on the EVAP purge seal test. But keep in mind that this tool probably costs 10, 15, maybe 20 times more than the launch tool. So you can't really hold that against it. And look at that, it's giving me the same screen. It still does not give me the ability to add the data to go along with the purge seal test like the factory scan tool would. And here's the General Motors Tech 2. This is the actual factory scan tool for this 2013 Impala. Obviously we get a smaller screen and kind of an outdated display, but let's see what we get. Once again, the factory tool is the king. It gives us the data to go along with our test. All right, so I'm going to start the engine up because we do need engine vacuum to test whether the purge valve is faulty or not. So I'm going to click System Seal, which should close the vent and close the purge valve. I'm going to monitor the fuel tank pressure sensor to see, does it drop into a vacuum? If it drops into a vacuum, that would indicate a faulty purge valve. If it did have a faulty purge valve, usually it would drop into a vacuum pretty quick. That doesn't mean that the vent valve actually sealed. It just gives, it's a convenient test. So let me increase. So evidently the vent valve did close. If I click seal, that little bit of vacuum that we're building should hold. Click System Seal. The vacuum does bleed away fairly quickly, so I do think we may have a EVAP system leak. And that's why when you use the factory tool and you can actually view the data while you do this test, it's helpful in evaluating the system before I've even opened the hood. But this is just a comparison. So we compared the consumer grade launch tool, we compared the professional grade aftermarket tool, which still didn't really help. And then this is the actual factory tool, which gives you all capabilities, full functionality. You can view the data while you do this, but this is just for comparison's sake. I'm still going to do the diagnosis with the launch tool. So here we are under the hood, EVAP purge valves right here. This is your vapor line. We're going to disconnect this. I've already disconnected it because it's got a quick connect I had to fight. Okay, so without the factory grade tool to watch the vacuum on the fuel tank pressure sensor, what we would have to do is start and run the engine, disable the purge by disconnecting it, because then you would know 1000% that it's off. With the engine running, purge valve disabled, we should have no vacuum, no suction at all, and you may need to use some sort of fitting with a vacuum gauge to actually get down in there, or you could remove this from the purge gently. Just make sure that there's no vacuum, no suction here. And we're good there. So now with the EVAP test cart, we need to hook up to this vapor line. Okay, engine off. Connect to that vapor line. I got the EVAP test cart here. I've got the scan tool ready. Back here on the launch tool, we're gonna command the vent solenoid. We want the vent solenoid closed when we're doing the EVAP pressure test. Where's my little button? Turn it on. We're gonna do a nitrogen test, not a smoke test just yet. We're gonna build pressure. When I close that vent, you should see the pressure spike up and you should see the flow meter start to drop. We're gonna command system seal. It says 0, so it's doing something. We should see pressure rise, and it looks like it is. And then we should see the flow meter start to drop. Give it a little time to build pressure. After just a minute or so, it will not build any pressure beyond this. Gauge is not dropping down, so this does indicate we most likely have a EVAP leak. So we'll switch over to smoke mode, and we'll open our vent so that notice how the pressure did immediately drop when we open that vent. We're in smoke mode. I've opened the vent, which is in the back of the car. I'm going to allow the system to fill with smoke, and then I will close the vent again and we'll check for smoke leaks. Also going to put it on the lift so I have a little better access. So before I've even gotten the chance to lift the vehicle, we got smoke coming out. Kind of ignore this for now because we've got that vent commanded open. Let me go close the vent, and then we should no longer see any smoke coming out. Go back to vent solenoid command. Command the vent on, which should seal up the system. I'm gonna put this on the lift, give it a little more time. we may just discover that the vent is failing to close. All right, got the car up in the air. Let's command the vent solenoid closed again. Start the smoke test. Should build pressure. We've got smoke pouring out up here by the filler. So I don't know if it's pouring out the vent. The vent solenoid's right here. I don't know if it's pouring out the vent or if it's from that gas cap leaking. Where does the hose go? So this goes to your fuel tank. We should seal off here. Where's the fresh air? So it kind of looks like it's not coming from this vent solenoid. Is it coming from the gas cap? If I turn the vent off, we should see smoke come pouring out of it. Looks like now I'm seeing smoke coming out of the vent because we opened the vent. So evidently our scan tool bidirectional control is working and we are able to command and open and close that vent. Let me drop it down and just see if we've got a leaky gas cap. That might be all we have going on with this car. All right, I've got the car back on the ground. Gonna command that vent closed once again. Commanded. I've got the smoke test still going. Well, it wasn't loose. Kind of feels a little funny, like it doesn't seal properly. So look at that. Evidently we had a leaky gas cap. So that's the EVAP system diagnosis with the Launch scan tool. Evidently we do need a new gas cap because it just doesn't, it's like clicks, but it's not tightening. So gas cap is unable to tighten. If I put my hand, put a little pressure on it, yeah, this gas cap just does not want to properly tighten. But if I can get it to seal, look at that, the smoke goes away. So looking like we need a gas cap. A couple days later, this is the aftermarket fuel cap that I took off of the car. This is the one that was failing to seal properly and leaking. Notice that the shape of the seal is a little bit different than the factory gas cap. This is an OEM gas cap we ordered from the dealer. The seal is a totally different shape. Look at the notch there versus the notch there. So totally different. And we get a tether strap when we put the factory cap back on. And look at that, the tether strap's doing its job already. Beautiful. Back here in the car, just to finalize the repair, we're going to clear the codes. Ignore the P0442. I caused that when I disconnected the purge valve under the hood. So clear codes just to wrap this up. So this was a 2013 Chevy Impala, P0442 EVAP small leak diagnosis with the Launch tool. That's really all I've got for this one. Thanks for watching. All good.